Hello everyone, welcome back to the Raw Report. We've got our youngest ever guest, I would believe by a fair margin, on the show today. She's just celebrated a birthday, which I'm sure none of us missed. It's a famous name here at the Den. She's got 2 premierships here at Seymour in 2022 and 2025. She buggered off on us for a while and won a B grade league best and fairest with Wodonga, as well as a flag up there as well. She's a Seymour junior. Welcome to the Raw Report, Chloe Locke.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, as we've mentioned, you've been up on the border, you've come back home. What do you do with yourself 9 to 5? Do you have a job?
I do have a job, very fortunate. I'm currently working as a learning support officer at the local Catholic school here in Seymour and have been doing so for the last 3 to 4 years. So love that.
Any favourite colleagues around that joint?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to go past one, Courtney oldest. Yeah, spend quite a bit of time with her both at work and on the netball court, but seems she's leaving me, so that's fine.
Another great line. The St Mary's factory, lovely. And you yourself, you've got a long association with the Lions. Can you tell us a little bit about your early netball? I reckon you played your juniors here and then made your way into the senior ranks.
Yeah, I think I was around 9 years old when I started training with the Seymour under-12s. Sophie was 11 and in the team, so it was like sending a lamb to the slaughter, but Mum and Dad wanted us both at the same club and in the same team because it was what was easiest for them and keeping us in the same location. I played for the under-12s there for about 4 years.
Did you lose a traumatic grand final as well in that underage?
Yeah, to St Mary's, which sucked, and those girls don't let me forget about it, but it's fine. I'm now playing alongside them, so that makes it a lot easier.
Right, and now winning flagged with them, and you've mentioned your sister Sophie. Who's a better netballer, you or Sophie?
Well, I've got more trophies in the cabinet for it. I mean, I do have a few more seasons on her, but it's going to be really great fun to have her back playing some netball this year and in my team. So we'll let the coach decide who's best.
And very hot off the press, those netball squads are about to be released. So bit of an exclusive there of Sophie Locke's comeback. So thank you, Chloe. 2022, can't quite remember how old you are, but you must have been pretty young back then. Played in the premiership that year, and that was a famous clean sweep at Deakin Reserve where Seymour took out the B-Res B grade and A grade premierships. What was that day like, and what was the night like? Were you old enough to enjoy it?
I was only 19, but loved absolutely every minute of that day. It's not something that happens very often, especially in a league as strong as the GV. So it's a massive testament to the coaches of Courtney, Ali and Cal, and of course all the girls for being able to pull the clean sweep. The day was great. Yeah, the day was very enjoyable for everyone, but most people know how my night ended up, as it involved taking a very long nap in the footy away rooms and having multiple mothers coming in and checking on me just to make sure I was okay before I was inevitably picked up by my father, who I think had a heads up about my form from the bus driver.
Oh.
Yeah. But, we all look back on that day as a great memory and something we aspire to do again. So whatever works.
Poor Stu. Was a great day, and I don't remember that happening, so I'm glad you've just thrown yourself under the bus there, so to speak. Thank you. You then decide you've had enough of Seymour, so you ditch us and go up to Wodonga on the border. Why'd you go up there, first and foremost? What was it like? And it might have been good, but was it as good as the Den?
I think I was just in need of a bit of change, so nothing better than heading up to Albury-Wodonga for a bit of change. I headed up to Wodonga to start studying. It was a pretty easy decision to make Wodonga Bulldogs my home for a couple of years. Ruby Martin was already there, and I had a few other connections to the club, so thought, why not give it a go? I still do have a lot of love for that club and get up to watch them as much as possible because so many of those people took me in as one of their own and supported me week in and week out, which made sticking around for those 2 seasons quite easy. It was a great change up for me being able to, sneak back down into the goal circle after being a defender for a few years here at Seymour. So that was always handy, having the pressure and the satisfaction of the goals going in. But as much as I did love running amok and getting up to much mischief up there, I thought there's no place like home and needed to get back to Seymour and hanging out with those girls. And the club culture here is just something that you don't see every day. So, yeah, made sure I came home quickly.
That was the right answer. And we've got yourself and Ruby back, and that's 2 out of 3. And if Wodonga could send Jack O'Sullivan back soon, that would be great as well on the football front. But up there, individual and team success. So as we've mentioned, B grade league best and fairest in 2023 and a flag in 2024. Just too easy up there?
I think I was very lucky with my success up in Wodonga. I think it was just a matter of all the stars aligning with coaches and the players up there. So many of those girls who I became really good friends with had played for Wodonga for 5-7 years and I had only had a handful of games that they'd ever won. So for myself and Ruby to join the B grade team in 2023 and make the preliminary final, a lot of those girls were tasting success like they had never had. But for myself, it wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to actually take them to a flag and show them, what success actually looks like here at Seymour. So, yeah, it wasn't job done. And in 2024, we were lucky enough to get that flag and was just the cherry on top and the perfect way for me to end my time up there. I don't think the Bulldogs had won a senior netball flag for around 20 years. So it was great to break that drought. I look back on 2023 and that league best and fairest is more of a shock than anything. I really was enjoying my netball that year, so it must have been showing out on the court, which is always handy. I suppose a bit of fresh meat for the umpires to look at. Obviously hadn't, annoyed them too much or made a bad reputation for myself up there, so that's always handy.
And you and Sophie are always nice and quiet on the sideline, so yes, I'm sure the umpires do enjoy your company. You just turned 23 then?
Yes.
2025, you're back here and you win another flag. So you're at 22, you've already got 3 flags in the bag. That team is quite unique and they've been mentioned on the Raw report before. They've been pretty dominant over the years. Can you tell us a little bit about the team and some of those characters that prance around on the B-Res court each week?
Yeah, I think there's a reason we're talked about quite a lot. There's nothing really quite like the B-Res girls here at Seymour. Everyone has their own little personality and quirk, so it's really good that we all gel in together quite nicely. There are indeed many great characters within the group. You can't go past the likes of Casey Drummond, Sarah Waite, Lane Lewis, Shona, and even Mia Allen, the quiet assassins, but gosh, they have a lot of fun and can say some very great one-liners. I've loved playing with these girls for many years and there's just a lot of phenomenal human beings within that group. They turn socialising into something you just do for fun. Just at netball training, why not have another chat? I'm sure we do a little bit of training within all of our talking. We must, with all the success we've shown out on the court. So, yeah, it just makes playing netball and getting down to training so easy with all those great girls around me.
And they carried the Mad Monday celebrations once again, so well done to the B-Res girls. You do star on the court, but perhaps more importantly than football and netball here, you're pretty involved in the off-field antics and you do take great pride in that, which is fantastic. What's your favourite thing about the functions at the Den? And even though you're only young, do you have a favourite function memory or a favourite function?
I think our club functions are some of the best in the league or even in Victoria. Everyone is constantly showing up and having a great time. So I find it very hard myself to not be there. So very rarely am I ever missing any of those functions. When it comes to a function favourite memory, it is very hard to go past the mock wedding of last year. As someone who doesn't ever shy away from the limelight, I didn't mind having a full night about myself and, of course, my now husband, Curtis Powell. Yeah, being the centre of attention was absolutely fantastic. And I think a lot of people who were there that night really enjoyed it as well. So look forward to seeing if we can pull off a night like that in maybe a couple of years' time.
And Stu was very happy to give you away out on the hallowed turf of Kings Park. Who was in your bridal party as well?
I was lucky enough to have Lane Lewis as my maid of honour, Sophie Rutherford, Ruby Martin, and Sarah Waite. I think Dad was, if there was to be anyone who enjoyed that night more than I did, it was my own father. I don't think he ever thought he was going to see a wedding that I was the bride in, and for it to be no cost to him just really was something that he just never stopped talking about. So I do wonder how my real wedding will ever top that night.
Yes, the invoice is in the mail, Stu, but it was indeed a wonderful night and quite an emotional one. So congratulations on your special connection with Curtis, and hopefully he's built up the courage to speak to you. 2026 social calendar, you're leading the charge there, but our first function of the year, round 5 versus Tatura, and it's a special day. It's Sarah's Day. We haven't touched on your mother yet, but can you tell us about Sarah's Day, what it is and what it means?
Yeah, Sarah's Day will always be a special one to both myself and my family, but again, it's always a really tough one. It's an absolute honour to have such an amazing day and fundraiser named in honour of Mum, but it also sucks that she isn't here to enjoy it. As we all know, she was a sucker for some bubbles, great food, and plenty of netball, which that day is basically centred around. It's always amazing to see the club get around such an event, and even having the footy boys last year donate their fines money to pay for pink socks to wear was just a great example of everyone around the club going above and beyond, and just putting that little bit of extra effort in to such an amazing day. I know that it was Mum and a few of her friends at the club here who started the day many years ago now, and it's always great to have myself and my friends now there to be able to carry on the tradition, and to have that day against Tatura every year. And of course, those girls there constantly showing up and supporting the day is a great testament to that club and those group of girls. So we really appreciate that.
Yes, Tatura is pretty special to get involved year on year, and all the helpers around the club that get involved. There's really an army behind that day. So it's a special one for our club and one we look forward to each year. And it's obviously got some serious messages in there, but it's always a great day for a lot of the women and people around our club to get together for a good cause. So well done to you and the family for continuing that. On to the rest of the functions. What can we expect this year? We've seen the draft social calendar. We haven't put it yet out to the public. Plenty of premiership reunions, but for the younger crowd, perhaps not yourself now that you're married off, but what have we got on the horizon?
Yeah, I've been lucky enough, or even maybe drawn the short straw, to be roped into being on the social committee this year. Was just added into that group chat without any forewarning, but that's all right. I guess I must have some pretty good opinions on a few things. Yeah, we've got the 2006, the 76 and the 66 premierships to look forward to this year. So having some of those greats back at the club and remembering the successes of those will be great. But for the quote-unquote younger ones, we have the likes of The Ball, 7K Draw, and the always exciting and captivating night of Mr. Seymour, which is a crowd favourite for many people at the club and always good for our boys to show off their hidden talents, or maybe show what should just stay hidden.
Right. And obviously your eyes won't be wandering when it comes to Mr. Seymour. We know you're nice and loyal to the main man in your life, but do you have any mail on who might be involved in Mr. Seymour? We've got one of the previous champions, Harley Taylor-Lloyd, back at the club as the reserves coach this year. Do you know who's contesting? Is there anyone you'd like to see a little bit more of on the Mr. Seymour stage?
I'd love to see Harley go again, but I think now that, he's got the kids and all that, I just don't see it happening, unfortunately. I do not have any insight as to who will be out there, but I would love to see my husband Curtis out there, doing his thing, showing everyone why it is that I decided to marry him. Maybe bringing his off-sider Dill Davis into it. A bit of a duet action there. Wouldn't hate it. Wouldn't mind seeing some of our older boys like Dimmer or even Murph up there. I think, it's time for them to show us what they're really made of. But two that I think have really gone under the radar and need to just show us a bit of what they're made of are Nugget and Quiggy. They love to tell us just how good they are.
That's true.
Especially, on a night out or at a function, you always have them in your ear chewing it off. Oh, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. But I think, it's time for them to show us just how good they are. And there's no better night for that, like Mr. Seymour. So I think it's time people start getting into their ears about getting heavily involved in the night.
That's a very good call. Quiggy does quite enjoy his own rig and his own performances. And we know once Nugget gets a bit of liquid confidence in him, he's pretty happy too. So we've done some of the low-hanging fruit, the likes of Briggsy in recent years, but it'll be exciting to see what we come up with this year. Now, you're going to be organising the functions, but you're playing and you've stepped into coaching as well this season. So you're going to be incredibly busy. You've got charge of the under-15s. How has that been? You're about to head off to training once we finish this up. And what drove you to get involved in the coaching side of the club?
I spent a lot of time with our 17s last year under Courtney Aldis. So just being able to watch how she goes about things was amazing and gave me a little bit of a taste of what it's like to be a coach and all the commitment that goes along with it. So when I got the call from Sarah Brown this year saying, if you be my co-coach, I'll do it. So I thought, why the heck not? They're a great bunch of girls. We've got some very young ones there, but it's just going to be amazing to watch them improve and just go about enjoying netball and giving them a bit more confidence in their abilities and what they can do out on that netball court.
And some very good coaches right across the board, and you've probably touched on that there, but for yourself, the 15s and the club, what do you think success looks like this season? Any goals in mind?
For myself, another flag never hurts anyone.
Please.
But also just making sure I really enjoy my netball and all things that go on around the club. Just getting the most out of it and, never leaving the fortress that is the Den on a bad note. And for the 15s, again, just making sure that those girls really enjoy their netball and improve as much as they can and seeing their full potential and keeping them around for many years. I know back when I was a junior, our success was nothing like it is with our senior girls, but sticking around and developing obviously got us a few of those flags. So it's always great to keep the young ones coming through. And for the club, again, success never hurt anyone, but just making sure that everyone gets involved with all things function-wise, socialising-wise, and just keeping the positive culture that we've worked so hard on, just keeping that going.
So 8 flags, great functions, and a beautiful family-friendly culture as well. It's not too much to ask for. Now into our rapid-fire questions, which never end up being rapid. Number 1, where friendships are made and broken, your favourite Lion personality around the club?
He's a bit of a father figure of mine, but I find it very hard to go past Dick War.
Oh, the great Richard.
The great Richard. Week in and week out, I'd come into the club and no matter whether I was having the best day of my life or one of the worst, it was always great to see him with a massive smile on his face. Could always rely on him to go up and get a big bear hug from. So absolutely love Dick and just everything that he stands for. So, yeah.
That's good. Dick wouldn't know how to use a mobile phone, so unless we can get this to him by carrier pigeon, he's probably not going to hear it. But
which is probably for the best.
Yeah, I think that'll make his head quite large. But Dick is indeed a great Lion and a life member. Best player you've played netball with?
Now, this person's very hard to go by. There's someone who's very, very loyal to this club. They're a B-Res player, a personal favourite of mine and many around the club. One, Casey Drummond.
Drummo.
Yeah, absolute favourite of mine. Phenomenal player and even better person. So, yeah, absolutely love playing netball with her.
Used to clean up in the juniors too. She's a star. Casey Drummond. The best player you've played against?
I wouldn't say, it was a game day that I played on this person, more one-on-one in the club, but there's nothing scarier than lining up against Sarah Sikuski in an inter club or even at training. There's nothing quite humbling like being rejected at netball training by one of your own. So she is just a formidable force to go up against, and just the way she goes about helping our younger Lions as well. Yeah, absolutely love playing against her, but it's a bit humbling at the same time.
It's a fair call. Best line you've ever seen?
Netball wise, very, very hard to go past Casey Adamson. Can't wait to see her finally debut for the Giants and get the recognition that she deserves and has put so much effort into working for. So very excited about that.
This weekend, is it?
Indeed it is. I'll be front and centre. Might even paint my face orange.
Beautiful.
Footy wise, I had to think about this one, but a lot of love for Jace Cole. Cannot go past Jason Cole. That man, a phenomenal player, and one that I remember watching even as a young one who had absolutely no idea about football at the time, but he seemed to have the ball quite a lot and did great things with it. So, yeah.
And a lovely man, Jace Cole. Your favourite lines running around at the moment? I'm sure you've got favourites on both the footy field and the netball courts.
Can't go past the two that, I spent a lot of Mad Monday and Mad Tuesday, Mad Wednesday, and maybe even Mad Thursday with. Lane Lewis and Lucy Zotti, we seem to be getting up to a lot of havoc at the moment, but absolutely love running around the Lions' Den with them on the footy ground. Hard to not be impressed by one Ricky Shraven and all that he does around the club. When it comes to, making sure everyone's involved, especially at functions. I'm a big fan of the chalk. Love the chalk. Yeah. I think Ruby Martin's done very well there. And, yeah, massive fan of one Nathan Fowler.
The Wallen boys. Wonderful. Any final message ahead of the season from the great Chloe Locke?
Just to make sure that everyone enjoys it and to make sure that you get down to the Den. I'd say round 1, but that's not happening anymore here. So round 4, Anzac Day weekend, make sure you get here, especially against Euroa. That's always going to be a heated rivalry. So got to make sure that we have plenty of people around the club for that day. And then, of course, around 5, Sarah's Day. So 2 really important weekends for the club. So just making sure that everyone gets down to the Den and gets involved.
Beautiful. Thanks very much for joining us, Chloe.
Thank you for having me.
And just to wrap us up, Chloe's done some of the housekeeping there. So a reminder that round 1 won't be played at Kings Park. It will be played at Benalla. So that's to allow some essential maintenance work here at Kings Park. And the Oval will be looking sensational for the rest of the season. Casey Adamson making her debut for the Giants this weekend. Very exciting for Casey. Congratulations. I'm sure we'll all be watching all there in person. This weekend, we've got football practice matches at Sandhurst, under-18s at 9:30, reserves 11:30, seniors 1:30, no canteen, no bar, as it's at Catherine Macaulay College, so you won't be able to crack a can at the school. And then the following weekend, we've got netball practice matches here at Kings Park against Whittlesea, 9 a.m. B Res, 10:15 B grade, and 11:30 A grade. So that's all we've got for you, and we'll see you next week on the Raw Report.